But me, it's more like personal embarrassment. This young lad had no personal embarrassment that he was berating a pregnant lady, even if she was in the wrong here, which technically she also wasn't, because she paid for the bike.
Let's talk about facts.
If you want to have intellectual discussions.
Spiritually oriented, a beautiful family.
Who you are beyond the personality.
I'm a human being, same as you. Be who you are.
But to answer your question,
what is really going on?
And let's get into this.
Now, there is something in the news in America at the moment caught my eye, which is this this outrage towards somebody called Citi Bike Karen. Have you heard of her? So Citi Bike Karen is a lady who is still working for those in the UK. She would be deemed as NHS, but she's given medical services of some sort to a hospital. I think it's in New York. Don't quote me on that one. So what they have these e-bikes called Citi bikes, I believe. They're pedal ones and they're also just motor ones. Now there's a young lad and his friends were going along testing these bikes, I believe, and they clearly have worked an awesome little system whereby, because they pay for a monthly subscription to this, I believe, that they ride from place to place to place. And if they stop after 45 minutes for a little break, they can get it pretty much all for free except for their subscription they pay monthly, which sounds cool. I'm guessing those at Citi Bike know this, and they're not really doing something to stop this. This is something to encourage people using their bikes, I suppose. And obviously these young fellows are doing this. Now, I'm not going to say they're young scholars or anything like that, because I don't think it's fair to put on them that they're some virtuous bunch of lads or that they're a nasty bunch of lads. It could be a lot of different things we don't know. Ooh, weather's just turned out good. But what has happened, from what I can see anyway, is that this lady has finished her shift. From what the footage shows, she's gone out, she's scanned payment for this bike. Now, for all we know offline, this guy could have been sitting on this bike, ready to go off again with his mates. She didn't like the idea of him being able to just be able to sit on. So I'm just looking at my gazebo going on a bendy there. She didn't like him being able to sit on this bike, and she may have just tried to be narcissistic and said, I'm not having that, and put in there. But it's been told the reason she didn't go for the other bikes that were available there was she was looking for a motored bicycle, not a pedal bicycle, because she just finished a 12-hour shift and she's heavily pregnant, which can be seen in the footage. Now, they've been mainly, race hustlers and stuff, and I'm going to do myself the best favour I can and stay as neutral as I can and just say what I'm seeing. There's a lady who's pregnant, and a young man wouldn't get off a bike he wasn't using straight away for her to use it. Who's raising these young men? I don't think he's done anything wrong or anything like that. I don't see the world like that, but I'm just saying, to me, or maybe only to me, getting off that bike and saying, there you go, take this bike, was probably the best thing that the young lad could have done, and would have been a more virtuous and wonderful thing. But instead they didn't want to do that. He wanted to push and push and push this pregnant woman, who just got more and more, should we say, Karen-like. With, like I said, everybody goes through different traumas in different ways. Maybe this is just this lady's way of dealing with this. She was screaming how it was a little over the top. She wasn't being attacked. However, this is the part people are missing out. Whether the lads knew it or not, she had a right to feel that she needed help, and she had a right to be, to be really paranoid and skeptical of everything that's going on, because she paid for the bike, and as she was trying to take the bike away on her ticket. By the way, if this gentleman had been paying for the bike, there would have been no way for this lady to pay for it. But it was docked, so she got on the bike. Whether she pushed him off and got on the bike, why a pregnant lady would go up to a bunch of youths and push one of them off the bike to take it is beyond me. I don't understand. But this whole thing happens the entire time. There's a young gentleman there who seems to be friendly with the lads who are on these bikes, constantly telling his mate, just leave it, it's not worth it, let her have the bike. In fact, he gives her his bike in the end, because he can clearly see she's pregnant and distressed, and he's not liking what's going on. That's what seems clear to me. But who knows, you have to speak to the young gentleman. But he gives over his seat because the one youth wouldn't give his seat over. I don't like using the word shame because I get rid of it, but within your language you would understand the word as shame. But me, it's more like personal embarrassment. This young lad had no personal embarrassment that he was berating a pregnant lady, even if she was in the wrong here, which technically she also wasn't because she paid for the bike. And you can see in these videos where she wants this bike. She clearly wants to go home, and this young lad won't let her have this bike because he claims it's his. Now, maybe in good faith he believed it's his, but it's very doubtful. And the reason it's very doubtful is simply this. He's part of a club, he understands these bikes, he knows how they work, and he knew he hadn't paid for this bike because he docked it. This is the whole reason they dock it, is to stop themselves from being charged over 45 miles. And he's provided all the receipts for this, by the way, him, his sister, and his legal team, and so is this, what they call Citi Bike Karen. She's done exactly the same thing, guys, provides receipts. And this is the story unfolds from it. Anybody seeing a different story, please let me know in the comments below. I want to understand this. But the thing that really don't understand, and the thing that everybody, almost everybody I've seen, is ignoring, is this. It then shows receipts after the Citi Bike Karen, as we call her, or I don't call her, but as she's been deemed, rides away on the bike that this gentleman's friend, I can't really call him a gentleman anymore because he doesn't prove himself to be a gentleman in this instance, and I don't know him. But his friend, who is a complete and utter gentleman, and he needs to be commended for his actions, because where there was, I don't want to use some of the more powerful words, but where there was confusion, where there was lack of empathy, and where there was anger, this young gentleman, next to the gentleman who wouldn't give up his bike, gave his bike up in an act of chivalry for this lady. And again, in the same way I couldn't call her a lady, I'd have to say she was a pregnant lady. And why we say that is because her actions herself didn't seem that worthy of a lady. However, being pregnant, and we call her a pregnant lady, we can understand that her hormones may have been all over the place. You don't know what this young lad might have been going through. In fact, I don't see either one of them as evil or wrong. I just see an illness in both these individuals. One is natural through birth. Who knows, she might be a complete and utter Karen, guys. I don't know. I don't know this. But from what we've seen, it hasn't shown that. It's just shown a hormonal pregnant lady finishing a very long shift, wanting to go home, and happened to pick up the wrong bike. And when paid for it, the gentleman would not allow her to redock it or take it away. And so she was stuck in the middle. That's what it seems like. I, again, could be wrong. I'm mistaken, should I say. Let me know. This is all I've seen from this so far. But my main thing with this is not to berate anybody or anything. Is to highlight there's illness. And in this area, there were illness on both sides. One, I believe, natural from pregnancy. Another one from... I'm going to say the reason why, because I don't know, but it would seem to me like this gentleman, which I can't call him really, I'm just trying to be nice, should have been more of a gentleman and yet lacked that ability. That means to me he's lacking certain empathy in him, which means he's lacking fatherhood. That doesn't mean he may have a dad, but that doesn't mean he is a father. There's two different things to me. A father is a guide, and a dad is someone is looking after you and loves you on a more physical level. So dad is more the physical name, father is more the spiritual name. I hope that makes sense to a lot of people. It won't to some, I understand. But during this whole thing, like I said, the one thing that blew my mind more than anything is he didn't even take the bike afterwards, from what I've been told and what I've been shown. It turns out after this Karen decided to go home, the bike he prevented her from having, he just left there. Now that's the part I don't understand. That's the part I'm struggling with. This young lad made a video, a big fuss, his sisters, his mum, everybody's coming out, and they may all be correct, but one thing nobody's explained to me is why did he leave the bike there a couple of minutes after this lady left? This pregnant lady left with the bike that another young gentleman, who by the way, he was a scholar, he was a very, very polite, compassionate gentleman. I wish I knew his name. I'd love to speak to him. What a young man. But he did so. 1 minute, guys, some pauses. Yeah, there's one lad in there, very, very, I'm going to say, thank you for being such a gentleman there and looking after that pregnant lady. She may have had a few things loose upstairs, being mainly because of the. Well, by the way, when I say that, guys, a few things loose upstairs, I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm just trying to say that her action seemed that of maybe someone going through some hormonal changes, and that someone who was either scared or wanted to seem scared. I won't make a judgment on that. I don't know. Wasn't there. But yeah, that's a story. As far as I'm aware, that is a factual story I'm telling that happened. And here's another thing is, there were people walking by just staring and not doing anything. Not many, but some. There was a gentleman that did try to interject, and he did ask them to just redock the bike so the lady has no issues, but they wouldn't. Now, some people might see that in bad faith and say, they purposely wouldn't because they wanted to steal that bike. It's just in bad faith, you don't know that. That gentleman might actually believed he scanned his card. Maybe there was a point that we didn't see on camera where he went to scan his card and she got there before him, because they said she jumped over him. That to me seems just as likely as the ex-prince and princess, or whatever you want to call them, Meghan and whatever, going on a high-speed car chase around New York City. They seem things that they don't seem like that did happen, but that doesn't mean they didn't, because I wasn't there. I don't know. But that's it, guys. That's my approach on it. I think that everybody needs to relax. Those claiming racism, race hustlers, don't worry, it's just an illness in you. It's not your fault, but understand what you are. There's no need to bring race into any of this, and many people have. You're almost as, I say, dopey as those individuals on The View. But even if race was in it, it is time for everybody to wake up a little bit here, in my opinion, and understand that racism is just another ignorance that is part of the ever-growing illness of mankind, and we're all of us guilty of it. Not one, not two, not three, not this colour or that colour. All of us. But some people are just virtuous. They can't be racist. It's got to be you, and especially if your skin colour is something they call white. What the heck is white people? I don't even know what black people are. What are this stuff? People, let me know below. What are white people and black people? I don't understand these things. I understand what you think they are. That doesn't mean I understand what they are. Alright guys, harm me.